My name is NIbungochoubi, the Secretary General of the Northeast Indigenous Peoples Forum. We are an open forum constituted by volunteers from the entire northeastern states. We had a general conference in the year 2017. About 2,000 volunteers, 2,000 intellectuals, academics from different walks of life, we gathered in Guwahati. And subsequently, we decided to form an open forum, and it was Christian Northeast Indigenous Peoples Forum. And very fortunately, I was chosen as a convener and spokesperson before the actual formation. We are still very young. We are working hard for the people of the Northeast Indigenous Peoples Forum because we have serious challenges. The people of this northeastern region, we feel that unless the indigenous people are protected by our own respective states, there are imminent challenges, imminent threats. We are thinking of economic empowerment, we are thinking of political empowerment. We have to understand that the northeastern states, from Myanmar alone, we share about 1,643 kilometers. We share a very long international border with Myanmar. Arunachal has about 520 kilometers with Myanmar. Manipur has about 398 kilometers. Mizoram has about, I think, 510 kilometers with Myanmar. Nagaland has about 215 kilometers with Myanmar. Above which, we also share a very long international boundary with Bangladesh. The 4,096 long kilometer international boundary with Bangladesh. In fact, the West Bengal and Bangladesh, they share about 2,217 kilometers. Tripura has about 856 kilometers. Meghalaya 443. Assam has about 263 and Mizoram about 318 kilometers. Any political upheaval in our neighboring countries like Bangladesh or Myanmar, it has its own serious impact in the neighboring countries, particularly our region. Bangladesh is particularly a country where people continue to travel out, leave their own country for their own survival, for their own personal matters. When they come through these long, unmanned, unchecked boundaries, their destination could be Dimapur, their destination could be Manipur, their destination could be any part of the northeastern region. And from Myanmar, as I said that we share about 1,643 odd kilometers, Myanmar is perpetually caught in the internal conflict for so many decades. There are fights, there are conflicts. There are well-planned influx from both Bangladesh and Myanmar in the neighboring states of the northeastern region. Some are displaced because of the conflict. Whether they return to their native village or they return to their respective countries is a serious question today. When there is a systematic influx from the neighboring countries, and we people from the Northeast are so humble, we are so hospitable, and we accept any citizen, we accept any community without any belief that they will be harming us. At the same time, we should understand this gradual influx is definitely going to change the demographic profile of our own state. When they come here from foreign countries, they come with a mission to settle down. And when you know that a particular person has come to Nagaland or Manipur or any part of the region, they will do anything to survive. To some extent, our bureaucratic system, our politicians, we are not so well equipped we are not so professional to systematically check the gradual influx of the foreigners. Now we have seen in Nagaland, kotha kotha to apni Dimapur te ki hoye ase in the last 50 years, we know. Right from our school, our last exit from Imphal to any part of the country, moi khan Imphal pura Dimapur bus te aibo. From Dimapur, we take a train. College ja time te bhi, university ja time te bhi, Dimapur pura train luikina jabo. So, in the last 50 years, moi khan Dimapur te demographic profile to ki communities settle kori kini Nagaland indigenous tribes hoile bhi, indigenous people hoile bhi, job opportunities, business opportunities to tai khan sab loi ase. It is because we have welcomed them. Our request from the Northeast Indigenous Peoples Forum, after the last third conference which was held in March in Jokai, that was in Dibrugarh, we had 3 declarations. One of the most important declarations, the third one is, we should urge all the state governments of the whole entire Northeast to open a directorate or a department exclusively for the indigenous affairs. We are not against development. We are not against progress. We are very happy, and we would like any investor, we would like anyone coming from any mainland area to be a part of the development. The purpose of the indigenous affairs is to ensure that our future generation, our children, are a part of that growth. They are stakeholders. You look at all the projects coming into Northeast, mega big projects. Are our indigenous people a part of the growth? We cannot be carriers of a development. We should be stakeholders. Whether it is development, whether it is education, or anything. We are very happy that when we called on the Honorable Chief Minister of Nagaland, Sir Rio, and apprised him that the Northeast Indigenous Peoples Forum is looking at empowering the people of this region from the perspective of how our indigenous people can be secure in their own land. You see what happened in Manipur. The last so many months of struggle, the last so many years of problem. When you look at the problem in Manipur, there might be many issues. The complex is very issue, but there is no denying the fact. Even if you look at the statement of the Director General of Assam Rifles, having to say that over 40,000 people from foreign countries have come in. There are also now people with the birth certificate from many neighboring countries coming in and obtaining Aadhaar card, getting into the electoral roll, because our system is very weak. Therefore, we from the Northeast Indigenous Peoples Forum, in the last Jokai declaration, added on the very third point that we would like to urge all the state legislative members from all the states to ensure that we open a department of Indigenous Peoples Forum. It should look into how our interests should be protected and our culture, our tradition should be preserved from our own perspective. The only worry that we have is the deadline, the year of cutoff. That is a debate. It is a political issue. Nagaland is very unique from the point of view of identifying the indigenous people. It is very easy. So many tribes, so many communities, even it became a part of the Indian Union. We all know that Manipur, Nagaland, some of the areas, it has its own inherent characteristics of being a tribal community. Our basic perspective of understanding how indigenous people should be defined in their own respective states. Let us not go into the details of how indigenous is defined by the United Nations, how indigenous is defined in Latin America or Australia or in US or in the European countries or in the mainland India. The government of Nagaland, I suppose, from this very bill that Azo will be initiating in the forthcoming assembly, which will be held on 2nd and 4th, the people of Nagaland, through the Legislative Assembly members, will understand that Nagaland will have to invite academics, historians, civil organizations, anthropologists to define what indigenous would mean from the perspective of the state of Nagaland. And this will be a historic event, and that is why the Northeast Indigenous People Forum are very excited. We are very happy. The very discussion that will happen, as Honorable MLA Azor has assured me, and the Vice Chairman of the Northeast Indigenous Peoples Forum, Mr. Kyoto Su, he is also the advisor of the Nagaland chapter, the Nagaland Indigenous Peoples Forum. We have been, both of us, with the members of the Nagaland Indigenous Peoples Forum, we call on the Honorable CM, we call on the Honorable Member of Parliament, we call on all maximum MLAs that we could, and I suppose there will be a very interesting session we will see. Most importantly, any kind of development, any kind of progress, any kind of decision in the state of Nagaland has to be under consideration, has to be premised on the interest of how we can secure the life, how we can secure the future of the next coming up Naga generations in Nagaland. We have to admit that Nagaland, the entrepreneurs, the businessmen cannot compete with any big tycoon or well-established businessman from the mainland. It is not possible. I'll give you a very simple example of what happens in the national scenario today. If there is a project coming into Nagaland, if the project is about 500 crores, I'm just giving a simple example, I might be true or it's just hypothetical. The criteria for the work will be premised on a person who is capable of doing that. Is anyone from Nagaland capable of doing that project? Certainly not. However, if you open a directorate or a department of indigenous affairs, we should ensure that any mega project, any giant project coming in should look into what are the areas, what are the avenues, what are the different sectors and segments that indigenous people can contribute and be a part of that project. Even talking of labor, even talking of skill, talking of manpower, anything. I have seen a lot of highway developments throughout the country. These are taken by giants, mega projects, engulfing the local economy. There might be people in Nagaland who has at least 10 earth movers. What is their role after buying 10 JCBs? It will be lying idle. Our basic idea is that those who have the capacity, even if it is at the minimum level, they should be a stakeholder. And we are looking at the inclusion of empowering our indigenous entrepreneurs in any national project at any given point of time. We should not be seen as some kind of an anti-progressive, anti-development. No, we would like any company to come into Northeast. However, we should be, the indigenous people should be a part of the growth and development. Our young children who are skilled cannot fight because the labors are cheap from outside. Those infiltrators or refugees, they are willing to do a job at any cost, risking their own life. A Department of Indigenous Affairs will ensure that when a project happens, it has to go through the Labour Department vis-a-vis the Indigenous Affairs. This is how we think that the people of Nagaland, all the academics, all the historians, particularly the anthropologists and the CSO civil organization, should now wake up. how our younger generation will be a stakeholder, a partner in the future. Unless there is a law, unless there is an act by the State Legislative Assembly, it will be just a hollow pipe. If there is a law, if there is an act, we should find what that act, that law should be defining to ensure safety, security, both political and economic opportunities of all the indigenous people. I think this is what we are trying to propose. And we are very fortunate that Mr. Ajo has taken up time, Mr. Kyoto Su, the advisor of the Northeast Indigenous Peoples Forum and the chairman, and the members of the Nagaland Indigenous Peoples Forum. We have been in constant touch with many MLAs from Nagaland. They're very happy, they're excited, and we're looking forward to what and how the Nagaland Assembly would be discussing that. And it would be an eye-opener for the rest of the country, and particularly the neighboring states, right from Arunachal to Mizoram to Meghalaya to Tripura to Manipur. You already know the condition of Tripura today. The original indigenous people of Tripura, the Tripura, they have become minorities. And that does not only change the demographic profile, but it takes all the opportunities. When you say political, it also means economical opportunities of all the indigenous people. I am very hopeful and we are very happy that the Nagaland State Assembly has accepted the request from Honorable MLA Ajo to initiate a bill, and we will be here to see how matters go on from here.